Hi, everyone. This is Shelley Dax, your host for the Tattoo Sisterhood Revolution Telesummit. I have to say it that way because it's so cool. We have a very special person here today. Her name is Charity Hamidullah, and we will be talking about women in tattooing and her thought on her unconventional journey to tattooing as well, and her thoughts on uniting with other women artists. But before we dive in with her, let's go over really quickly what we're doing here in this free virtual series. I'm speaking with some powerhouse artists and badass entrepreneurs about the beginning of their career, what kinds of obstacles they've dealt with, and how they've built their clientele or following and grown as an artist or business. This is also with a special emphasis on being a woman in this industry, which is traditionally dominated by men. And when you take in all these sessions, hopefully you'll walk away with tips on breaking into the industry, magnifying your talent, being an artist who doesn't compromise your values. I think that's super important. And boosting your financial abundance doing what you love. Myself, along with this panel of fabulous speakers, are sharing what it means to be an inking professional in this current time of massive change and uncertainty that's happening for all of us. So I invite you to listen in on each of these conversations to get the most out of this. It could be a game changer for you because one aha moment could literally change your life. Every morning we will send out an email with a link to the interviews of the day. So watch for those and check your junk mail in case something seems to be missing. All right, let's get to it. Today, I'm very happy to introduce Charity, and I'm just going to read her bio first before we start talking. Since walking into her apprenticeship at the age of 16, Charity Hamidullah knew that she had a special place in the tattoo industry. Since 2006, Hamidullah has continuously grown within her craft, working alongside greats like Maya Bailey and Tukey Carter at City of Ink, owned a tattoo shop with the living legend Roger Perea, and united with the Ladies of Ink to shed light on Black female tattooers in the industry. I'm excited to talk about that too. This road of tattooing has taken her around the world and connected her with amazing individuals. And she says she's super grateful and excited for the journey ahead. So Charity, hi, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, so good, so good. So tell me first, where do you live and what's the name of the shop that you're working at right now?
So at the moment, I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm working at Iron Palm Tattoos. We're located right downtown in the center of Atlanta.
Awesome. How long have you been working there?
I've been at this location since December. So it's a new journey for me, but I absolutely love it where I'm at.
Awesome. And you work with some other people. How many people do you have in your shop?
So total, we have 8 artists total.
Oh wow, nice.
And 2 piercers. Yeah, so we have a pretty big shop, and we're continuously growing, which is a great thing.
That is great.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start out by asking you, when did you first start thinking about becoming a tattooer and why did it appeal to you?
So I first began starting to think about tattooing really when all the shows started to surface. So when I started tattooing, I was 16, so super young, and I first saw Miami Ink.
I was going to ask you which show it was when you were eating your noodles.
I felt like, that was one of the best shows, especially for the time that it came. I just loved the artwork that was in there. I felt like it was so clean. It was looking back, is definitely, I feel like, a good representation of the tattoo culture.
Yeah.
And then to see Kat Von D, super awesome woman and amazing tattooer, especially of that time. So to see that was really just eye-opening as far as the culture and what it could be for, artists.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
neat. And you had mentioned to me that you also had an unconventional road to becoming a tattooer. So
Oh,
tell me a little bit
definitely.
about that.
Definitely. I mean, when I first, tried to begin tattooing, I definitely sought out an apprenticeship only because that's how I saw it on the show. I was like, oh, they have apprentices. Okay,
Yeah.
this is how I'm supposed to get into it, because I knew nothing of the tattoo culture prior to that. Like before that, I had gotten tattooed, which is crazy. I was like 15 when I got tattooed, but it was definitely very illegal, definitely in the
Hmm.
back of the house. So this is all like I knew about the culture. So then to see this other side, I realized, okay, I have to get an apprenticeship. So I tried to do that. Definitely the first shop I went to, it's not in existence anymore. It was just, it was not run properly, but it did give me an opportunity to even walk in this community.
Yeah.
So I'm very like grateful for that. But definitely since then, I have not had like a formal apprenticeship um, as a tattooer,
Hmm.
but definitely just learned so much from the shops that I have, been a part of all along my journey. And so very unconventional, but
Yeah, definitely.
but very much a learning process, and I'm really grateful for it as a tattooer.
So when you were going through these different places and working, how did you get the information if you didn't actually have a formal apprenticeship, but did you have mentors who were willing to take you under their wing or?
Definitely, definitely, like in each shop in so many different like manners. My first, well, after that shop that I first started at, I went to another shop called Inkaholics in my hometown, and we were all super young. I believe I was 19 when I started working there, and a lot of my coworkers were in their 20s. We all did not have formal apprenticeships, but we were all learning and feeding off of each other. So whether seeking information from what we were learning on our own, or just trying to obtain it from other sources.
Isn't that
But
interesting? Yeah, how I've heard from actually a couple of different people how they were with other apprenticeships and kind of all looking at each other like, okay, we're not really having a good job here by our mentors at, what do we do?
right,
And then seeking other ways of learning and just talking to people and
most definitely,
yeah, just sort of looking over people's shoulders a lot. Did you find
right.
yourself doing that too?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely looking over people's shoulders. Definitely trying to get tattooed by people, whether it was like people in the shop or people I was really interested in their work. I think that's like really key, especially for myself, or um, just in that journey of being a Black tattooer. We didn't have really
Hmm.
a lot of mentors. Um, that were accepting of us, and we had to really find other people that were like us, that were
Hmm.
willing to teach us. And so just being on that search was like a constant goal of mine. So that's really how I got to Atlanta. It was really because I was trying to learn from the best that I knew, like people I looked up to
Yeah.
as tattooers. And so just really continuing that, seeking that knowledge.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I think I remember you also saying that you were told that the same kind of thing a lot of people are told, like you can't make a career out of art.
Yeah,
And you started
definitely.
at 16 being defiant and a rebel, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I mean, I really wanted to prove people wrong. So much like I constantly heard that from my parents. Just like, because they didn't see it as like a career option, and they definitely didn't see tattooing as, because still to this day my parents don't have tattoos,
Oh,
so they weren't
funny.
really, yeah, they weren't really like aware of the culture or anything like that. They didn't understand it at all at that point in time.
Hmm.
So I was just told that this was never going to work out.
Yeah.
So I always just continuously tried to like prove that wrong.
And you've been tattooing for 12 years, so you've actually watched it change a
for
lot,
for
right?
14 years. For 14
14.
years.
Okay. Me
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Me too. I've been
Oh,
tattooing a little over
nice.
14 years.
Awesome.
So that's funny because right when I was first learning to tattoo, well, I went to a tattoo school, but I watched Miami Ink and stuff too, just like,
Yeah.
trying to get tips or whatever. But now I never watch those shows anymore. So many clients will come in and they'll say stuff about the shows, and I'm like, yeah, they make it look like you can do a 6-hour tattoo in like 20 minutes,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a totally different vibe. It's way more for entertainment
Of
now.
course, yeah, for
Yeah.
drama, for people who probably aren't tattoo artists, but there
Right.
was stuff to be learned. I would sit there and like slow down, and sit right on the little spots where they're actually tattooing to try to like,
Yeah.
what are they doing? Yeah, that's funny. Anyway,
Yeah.
so 14 years,
Mm-hmm.
and you have seen things change a lot as far as the culture goes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, because you talk about your parents, and how they felt about it, and I know a lot of my people that I've worked with say the same thing. But and it is true that there is some interesting things happening out there, but it does seem like now people like you and a lot of the beautiful people I'm talking to on this telesummit are really
Mhm.
starting to change, and they're really starting to expand ideas and embrace new growth and freedom in the way you learn and all kinds of things. What do you think about that?
Oh, I love it. I do see the change so much. I feel like a lot of people are very open to as far as like how they learn or how they can get into tattooing. So I'm always open to everybody's like journey as far as what they take. I feel like a lot of people are like pushing the boundaries as far as like, before it was you have to get in a shop, you have to have apprenticeship, or you're not really gonna learn. But I do like how everybody's sort of stepping out to the box and doing their own thing. And I appreciate that because it doesn't. I feel like it expands how tattooing is becoming, the culture, the people that it's opening up to as far as your clients. And I really appreciate that growth, like starting from the beginning and seeing what it is now or what it could even become.
Oh gosh, I know. Isn't that nice? I'm appreciating being kind of on the front wave or whatever you want to call it of things changing a little bit. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, what you talked about in your journey at the beginning when you said because you were a Black woman, you had a harder time finding somebody
Definitely.
who would train you. I would love to hear a little bit more about that. But I feel like, gosh, it would be wonderful to continue expanding it more and more so people have a different idea of how you can come to this. And there's so many roads, so many roads that people can take. So tell me a little bit more about that. I know that you also talked about, or you said in your bio that you're united with the Ladies of Ink. So tell me a little bit about
Yes.
what that means.
Oh, most definitely. So the Ladies of Ink, it was started by my friend Lori. She goes by Lady L Tattoos on or Lady L Tats on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, she brought together. We all like really enjoyed each other's work online and like knew each other from just the Instagram
Oh,
platform.
cool.
Yeah, and it's crazy. And then just one day she hit us up and she was like, "Hey, do you guys want to start like touring together and like sort of making this like a movement?" And so like at first we started touring with one another in shops and we would go around the country. And that was like really powerful because the shops never seen so many Black female tattooers united
Oh,
together.
that's
So
amazing.
yeah, it was really, it still is really powerful, and it morphs every year. And then we started recently in like the past 2 years we started like expanding and going to conventions. And so that had been like a really great sight because it's not normally seen in conventions. All
Yeah.
Black female
Yeah.
tattooers.
I bet that was
And
something.
it is, and it's not like we're just going there, like we're going there really like holding our weight. We have clients. We are really talking to people. We're really trying to open people's mind as far as like what a tattooer could look like. Because I think a lot of people have like a one-sided idea of what
Yeah,
of
that's
what
true.
it's like. It's just a man or
Uh-huh.
something like that. And so we're really opening their eyes as far as what that could look like. And so it's been a really great like journey being a part of them. And we're from all over, and now we actually have like a Canadian chapter, which
Oh,
has been like
wow.
super dope. Yeah, so it's like it's expanding and growing, and really creating like a female like community, sorority, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. But it's been like great having like really like my sisters now.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
been
I might, this
awesome.
might be a dumb question, but
No.
is it only Black women, or is it women of color, or how do you determine like who you let in the group?
Well, at this moment, it is women of color, and I think that's something that can even expand.
Hmm.
That's what it was when we started it. So just all women of color, but I feel like that continuously grows. Like so many times when we're out there, there's so many even guys that are like, "Oh man, I want to be a
I
part of
wa-
your crew. Like, we love what y'all doing," and so that's just what
That's
we're trying
funny.
to show people, but it could expand so much,
Oh, that's so hilarious. It reminds me of when, I have ladies' nights or something, and the guys are like, "Hey, what about me? You guys have so much
Right.
fun."
Yeah, because it's true.
It is true. Well, speaking of women in the industry, then,
Mhm.
so tell me a little bit about your thoughts about that. About, you said something about, we're more than sex symbols. So I'd love to hear your feedback on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think totally just from looking on Instagram and social media and things like that. Um, I feel like a lot of times people look for us to just be sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we might post some amazing tattoos, but the pieces that get the most likes are usually when we have pictures of us, you know,
Yes, I do know.
dressed down or just out there. And there's nothing wrong with you embracing your body for sure, but I don't feel like us as female tattooers always have to sell that. um,
Yeah.
I think we should really demand the respect for our artwork, because we've really put so much work into it and so much work into our craft. So
Absolutely.
I would really love to like see that more, because I know so many female tattooers. When some of them, I look at their pages, especially Black women. I feel like we're overly sexualized, or like feel
Mm.
this need to be looked at as these sex symbols. And I will go on some people's pages and I can't even see their work because they have so many
Yes.
pictures of them. I was
Yeah.
like, I thought you were a tattoo artist. This
Right.
is, and I don't feel like we always have to sell ourselves like that.
Yeah, you're right. It does seem like, and Instagram is one of the culprits, the biggest culprit of that too. And
Right.
yeah, it's, I mean, it is really interesting because it's sort of a double-edged sword. That's what gets you the
Mhm.
follows. But then I
Yeah.
kind of wonder sometimes, well, obviously follows is not all that matters.
Yeah,
And a lot of
definitely.
times people, you can have a massive amount of followers, but are they really your soulmate clientele? I wouldn't
Right.
think so. But
Right.
yes, I think it's awesome. And, of course, I'll probably get flack for speaking out about these things, but,
For
oh,
sure.
well, whatever.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm always open to the conversation, because I'm very open to people's different sides, and
Hmm.
I'm only saying this as a woman, as somebody who I used to do that. So
Hmm.
it's not like I'm speaking out against people or anything like that. I'm just showing my perspective, because um, I I used that as a marketing tool as
Mm-hmm.
one point in
Mm-hmm.
time, because I knew that was going to attract more people,
Yeah.
more clientele, and I sold myself at that point in time. So I know both sides, but I really want to challenge women to not feel like they have to do that,
Yes,
you
to
know.
stay true to their values. It sounds like,
Mhm.
I mean, and you can speak to it because you know you were there and now you've changed your
Mhm.
mind to come more in alignment with what you really feel, which is
Right.
awesome, you know. That's
Thank
great.
you.
And you know, you talked about owning your power. So what does that actually mean to you?
For myself, that just really means truly like embracing who you are, not feeling like you have to conform to other people just so they will like buy into who you are,
Yeah.
but really just embracing your full being, your full higher self, who you feel, what you stand for, and just owning who you are, really.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
great.
Hmm.
What so tell me a little bit about what you wish you might have known at the beginning when you started this career. And what were the, I mean, you talked a little bit about some obstacles, but what were some of the obstacles that got in your way?
Hmm. What I wish I would have known, I probably would have said party less and focus more.
Party less
Um,
and focus more. That's great advice.
yes, definitely party less, focus more. Um, really talk and conversate more. I do feel like I've met a lot of people, but I
Mhm.
have for a long time let my anxiety or my fears um, sort of hold me back from reaching out to other people or trying to build like certain relationships or just a lot of things, so I
Yeah.
probably would have told myself to maybe speak up a little more, talk a little more, get to know people like that.
Yeah.
um yeah.
What do you
uh,
think? Go ahead.
no, that was it.
um, so what do you think, how did you build your clientele? Like, you know, how did you get where you are today? Do you feel like it's just over time, or did you do specific things to help yourself out with that?
Most definitely. It was definitely over time. It's been totally a process. But it was really, I owe a lot of um the buildup of my clientele to the first shop I got to in Atlanta. I
Hmm.
think that like really helped out a lot. I worked at City of Ink, and learning under Maya Bailey, he like really just taught us a lot about just marketing to people. Um,
Oh, that's good.
build, yeah, like huge amounts of kudos to him. He stressed having a social media presence, stressed just being like really great to your clients, not having that. I feel like sometimes tattooers, we have this stigma that we're just like assholes, and and we have these attitudes, and we really don't. I feel like we just have some stress sometimes, or with dealing with a lot of people.
Sure.
But he really stressed like being there with your clients, drawing in front of your clients, having them feel like they're part of that process.
Yeah.
So I felt like that really pushed me in certain avenues. So from there, I just like started doing like curating a lot of art shows. I was trying to be everywhere that I could be present. Um, I even I even did like a free week of tattoos, which is like super duper crazy. But
Yikes. Yeah.
yeah, it was wild. And I did that, and that really like catapulted not only my online presence, but just had people really talking in the community. So, and that opened, even though I did a week full of tattoos, since that time, there hasn't really been a slow period for me.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I've literally just, I don't really feel slow period that often. Um, and it's really been like a steady clientele base. And two, also, um, I just really try to make the best tattoos that I possibly can at this current moment. And that goes a long way. Also, that is the top word of mouth. You make a great tattoo, it's going to bring so many more tattoos back for you.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely sure. Yeah. So talk about what kind of art you do and what kind of style you like also.
So within tattooing, I really love like very bold neo-traditional type designs. So very bold lines, very bold color. I've recently been getting into some like ornamental work. I really like that also. So I'm still, I feel like, finding myself and my style. As a tattooer, I felt like I was a lot of times you're pushed into many different styles. So I'm still navigating what I really truly love, and I guess want to stick with.
And what would you say? Excuse me. What would you say? How have you strived to increase your skills and and learning about style?
Definitely just a lot of research. I'm constantly looking at other people's work and how they execute things. Whether if I can get tattooed by them. I think that's a huge thing. Actually, getting tattooed by the people that you really look up to is a big thing. And to my shop environments. Who I'm working around goes a long way.
Yes.
So I've always strived to be with some people that I really enjoy their work and learn from them. So that meant like even though I was in Rochester at one point in time, I was at a shop that I really loved and was really growing with, but I felt like I needed to something else. So I moved to Atlanta. And I think you should never have like any boundary. Really follow where your heart wants you to go, and grow too within your shop.
Yeah. So do you know that being a tattoo artist is also being an independent contractor? So you're literally
Yes.
a badass female entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
And
Thank you.
you have to take care of all your own, books and all of that. I mean, it's helpful when you have a busy shop, of course, but can you talk a little bit about what else you do to like manage your own business and stay on top of that?
Oh, most definitely. Well, I always try to stay up to date with the financial things that I should do, whether like, I applied for LLC, just making sure I always have my taxes done. I think that goes a long way.
I know so
Definitely.
many tattoo artists who don't even pay taxes.
Oh, for sure. And I was that person at one point in
Uh-huh.
time. But I knew that if I wanted to obtain certain things in my life, that I had to stop doing that.
Right. Yeah.
So I know that tattooing is a main facet of my life, but there's so much more that I want to do artistically, so much more I want to do in my personal life. And I knew that it was time for me to do those things and handle more of the business aspect of it. And I feel like, especially just as females or everything, we always have to be on top of our business, and have our ducks in a row, for real. So really just that. I do. I try to handle my social media the best way that I can. Um, and I think that's, a big key. Definitely having a website, I think is awesome. A
Yeah,
place that
it
people
is
can
interesting.
see.
Sorry, it is interesting
No.
how much things have changed as far as even in 14 years, like, we both started back then. And I remember in the beginning doing yellow book or yellow page ads and,
Oh wow, for
things,
real?
yeah, like, pass out your business cards at a networking
Yeah.
meeting and all these things. But man, the internet and social media has made a lot of that not even as important anymore at all.
Yeah, that is true because I definitely do find myself slacking on the business card thing. but I do try to implement some promotional items, whether it be like stickers or, you know,
Yeah.
I've even tried to dabble on like clothing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just finding alternate ways to catch people's eye and really cross promote with you. So that's been a
Yeah,
huge part.
that's really good. Yeah, that's really
Mhm.
helpful to have all the additional things. I've met a lot of
Oh yeah,
wonderful artists who, you know, have their hands in a lot of pies, I guess they call it. You
yeah,
know, just arts and prints and photography and all kinds of things. And it
most
is
definitely, because all that
helpful.
stuff is gonna add up. And it might open a different market that not everybody's going to get, you know, a tattoo, but some
Correct.
people will buy your art or they'll
Yeah.
support your prints or whatever you're doing. So and two, we're creative, so we're here to create. We can create whatever. So I think having those different levels to who you are is really great. You know,
Yes.
in your craft.
And creativity in so many different ways helps support
Mhm.
what you're doing as a tattoo artist for sure.
Oh yeah,
The
definitely.
people who I work with, if they have any kind of art background or they've taken fundamentals or they're sculpting or they're painting or something alongside of learning to tattoo, they progress so much faster.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Em-
Yes.
Embrace the whole artist life.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, most people view becoming a tattooer as extremely difficult and full of obstacles and super hard to break into. Why do you
Mhm.
think newbies would perceive that?
Um, you know, I'm not sure if newbies really perceive that. Maybe, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure because I've just been like working with I have recently like two apprentices, but
Mm-hmm.
just like on my road, just seeing people that are trying to get into it. I don't know if they understand or respect like the journey that many tattooers have taken. Um, uh, because I mean, and I don't blame them because at one point in time it was very hard to get in the industry. So you have to just either not do it or make your way into it
Mm-hmm.
somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally
Are you
respect
actually
what they're
working
doing.
with two apprentices yourself?
Yes, I
Oh,
am.
nice.
Yeah, I have two ladies that
So,
are
I'm sorry, in the state of
no, go ahead.
Georgia, that it's an apprenticeship. There's no laws about. I mean,
Um
well, I should say, what
yeah,
are the
there's
laws about tattooing in Georgia?
Um, I feel like their laws are very relaxed. All they want is money to
Mm-hmm.
get your license and things like that. But there's no like how you said, you know, you guys have a school out there. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have that here, and they don't even honestly care if you have an apprenticeship. You're just supposed to be in an establishment, a legal tattoo
Mm-hmm.
establishment. So
So I'm
and
assuming
then
that you like teaching if you took on a couple of people.
um I'm learning myself. I'm not gonna fully say that I enjoy teaching. I'm learning that I really want to share my craft with other people,
Oh, that's great.
and um, I really want other people have the opportunities that I had, just as the financial freedom that I feel like tattooing really offers. So I'm still learning that because I'm still learning myself as an artist, and I don't fully feel like I know myself, but I do want to share this with other people
Mm-hmm.
because they might take what I've learned and skyrocket, you know,
Yeah.
out of this world. And that's what I really want to see. So I feel like, you know, I've been doing this for some time so I could at least show other people what I at least know so they
Wow.
can, you know, begin their journey.
That's a
Um,
great attitude. I assume you don't
mhm.
want them to have as hard of a time as you did in the
Oh yeah,
beginning.
definitely not. That's why I try to, you know, be really transparent with them, be really open. Um, I really try to push them because I do feel like this, and I'm sure people thought about my generation like that, but I do feel like they're a little lazy. Like as far as like, you know, just I feel like they feel like everything should just come to them, and
Yeah.
I constantly try to tell them like this is a lot of hard work. This is not going to be easy. Especially like the women that I have, you're a woman, so some odds are against you, and you just have to really prevail above that. You have to go the extra mile and even strive even further.
Yeah, that's true. And thank you for sharing that too.
Oh yeah.
So we're getting closer to the end of our time, but I want to ask you a couple more questions.
Okay.
So since you do actually have apprentices, you might know the answer to this. What's the most important thing that you would tell novice tattooers hoping to get into this field?
Oh man. The most important thing I would say is just really believe in yourself when other people don't.
Ooh, good.
Yeah. That is definitely one thing that I had to really push forward. And I was constantly like told, like, maybe this is not the path for me by other tattooers.
By other tattooers?
Oh yeah. People that I looked up to, like, definitely told me, like, maybe this is not it. Or just even things with my craft, like, people told me, oh, women don't know how to push lines. They'll never get a solid line.
Wow, you heard people say that. Dang.
Oh, yes, I had. And I had to, eat it up. But I knew where I was going to be and what I had wanted. So no matter what my tattoos were looking like back then, I knew what I wanted to achieve. And I think, as a new tattooer, just always believe in yourself, despite if you're outside situations.
Yeah, fantastic piece of advice. So my last question for you then is, what is the best compliment you've ever received?
Oh, man. Oh, that's a good one.
It's always hard to talk about ourselves that way, right?
Yeah, it is. I would definitely say I can't like pick the verbatim wording,
right.
But just to hear from my clients, how my tattoos help them heal from certain situations that they're going through, or whether it be something they deal with. I deal with especially a lot of women who may not always feel good about their body or things within them. So having a piece of artwork over an area where they don't feel so good about and how that makes them now feel. That's like been the greatest part of being a tattooer, helping people feel more comfortable in their skin. So,
gosh, I love that. That is so fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Charity. I really appreciate it. So for our listeners who want to stay in touch with you, you have a little gift that you'd like to give away. So can you share what that is?
Oh, most definitely. So I want to share with them a Dive Inside You print. Basically, it's like a lady going into her own heart. So I hope that inspires them to dive inside themselves and really pull out who they're meant to be in their higher self.
Wow, I'm so happy I talked to you today. And remember the compliment I gave you, that I love your face.
Oh, thank you so much. I love your face also.
You have a beautiful face. So for our listeners, just look for the speaker information on the event page and then click next to it on the link for the free gift. And Charity, I really appreciate you being here today and being our special guest. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
To our listeners, your next interview will be delivered to your inbox. And don't forget, you have access for a full 7 days after each interview is released to listen. I look forward to joining you in our next session. Until then, be feisty, stay kind, and get creative.